Hi guys, welcome to Football Worldwide, and this is European Sit Down. Welcome to European Sit Down. My name is Bruno. I am joined by Anthony Priv. How are you, mate?
Very well, thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
And Mario, all the way from America. How are you, mate?
What's up? What's going on?
So today, as the description suggests, we are talking football is back. We've had 3 rounds in the EPL, Premier League, and Bundesliga, 2 rounds in the Serie A and La Liga. There is a lot to talk about. We won't focus so much on the Serie A because you'll catch Anthony and his Serie A roundtable on this channel every week. So let's get into it. EPL, it's back. They've had one of the biggest transfer windows in a very long time. And the only team with a perfect start is Arsenal. Boys, what do we think? Are they pushing for Champions League this year? I'm not going to say they're going to win it, but do they have the team?
So far, the Premier League has spent 835 million euros this transfer market. So yes, they are the big spenders of the world. You know, is it Cucurella? Is that how you say his name? Costing that much money from Brighton? Honestly, I've never heard of the bloke until the transfer news came out. I knew of his face and his hair, but had I read his name in the headlines, never would have known who he was next to that price tag. It just keeps setting the trends for the EPL, and it sort of is ruining the financial market for the rest of Europe, for the rest of the world of football, because, you know, as most people know, you can finish 17th in the Premier League and make more money than the team that finishes first in Serie A, so to speak. So,
well,
if that's the case, Nottingham Forest,
they got promoted and they got given, I think it was close to 200 million.
Exactly right. It's absolutely, it's insanity.
170 million this transfer market.
Mm-hmm. It's absolute insanity.
It's insane. No, they shouldn't be allowed to spend this kind of money. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think that's why the Super League was very anti-EPL, even though there was some EPL clubs in there. It was to generate funds to be able to spend. But there are reports coming out of UEFA with sanctions for a lot of the top clubs throughout Europe in regards to negative spending and so forth. So there will be more coming out. And
Wolverhampton Wanderers have spent 118 million euros this transfer market.
Wolverhampton need to change their name to Portugal FC because they can. I read an article. They can fill the starting 11 with just Portuguese players. That's how depth. That's how much Portuguese depth they've got.
I don't understand these teams. They spend 200 million on what? What are they spending this money on? And they go straight down to the freaking second division. All
they need is for a couple of them to hit, and they make it. They probably buy a good 7 to 8 players, and they need for a couple of them to hit, and they'll make that money back.
Yeah, essentially, and but we'll look at Arsenal. They signed Zinchenko from Manchester City as well as Gabriel Jesus up front, and just those two combining have proved the difference in a couple of games. But there's a couple of comments here. Eduardo Hernandez, Arsenal look a whole lot better than past seasons, but it's too early. That's why we're not calling them winners yet. But are they're clearly in form. They got the momentum. They haven't really played anyone special. But are they going to be the team no one predicted to be up there? And
I think so. I think they finished top 4.
Why not?
Yeah.
I reckon it's going to be a crazy season in a lot
Mario,
of leagues.
Mario, who is your top 4 for the Premier League?
Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal, and then Spurs.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So you mentioned Chelsea. Lukaku left in the off-season. They've had an abysmal start to this season. Lost 3-0 to Leeds over the weekend.
Without Bielsa, exactly.
There's a couple of surprise packets. Manchester City could have went perfect as well this week, and they drew 3-3 in what was an amazing game.
That was a good game.
With the neutral as well. It was technical. There was goals. It was very fair. And, they had the big takeover last season, the Saudi fund group there, and they seem to be making moves. Can we see them taking maybe a Conference League spot this season?
Who, City?
No, Newcastle.
Leeds. Oh, Newcastle. I'm sorry. No, I don't know.
No.
I think it's a toss-up. I think it's too early right now.
I don't know if they can get a Conference League spot, but they should be able to get more than enough points to finish in the top half of the table. But in terms of who's going to actually make the top four, it's really like almost impossible to call, except for the fact that City will make the top four, but you don't know that City will win the league. Their 3-3 draw against Newcastle is another indicator that they're still more than capable of dropping points, and maybe they are more towards the back end of their era than they are towards the peak of it, because I think for a fact that Liverpool are towards the back end of their era than they are in the peak of theirs. Their peak is a little bit over. It wouldn't surprise me to see Liverpool fall out of the top four, although for me, they've just got still way too much quality and they're just coached too well to fall that far down the ladder. So I guess you can still sort of pencil Liverpool into the top four. For me, the rest of the spots are just completely up for grabs. Like, there is absolutely nothing to suggest that Antonio Conte can't do the impossible. Impossible is not even a word in that guy's vocabulary. He is the shortest giant on the planet. I love him so much. Bring him back to Inter at some point in his life. Forza Antonio Conte and Forza Spurs, because we all know Man United's not winning anything this season.
Watching him at the end of the game with Tuchel was...
Oh
my God. That was amazing.
I love him.
He adds so much personality to that league, just by himself. It's crazy. They need him. They need him more than he needs the EPL.
Yes.
Yeah, look, Tottenham, they've done well in the off-season in signings.
I like them this year.
They performed really well once Conte took over the back end of last season. So you can never write Conte off, but they've always got that the bogey where they can't win anything. So Conte, I think, is more than capable to bring something to Tottenham. But again, it's very early to talk. Liverpool, you mentioned, Anthony, they had the 2 draws and they handed United their first win of the season. Mane gone. Is that causing a lot more problems than what everyone thought?
I think so. I think in terms of quality, he might just be the best out of that front three. I know Mohamed Salah's quality. I've known it since he was playing at Fiorentina and Roma. But at the end of the day, Sadio Mane is a world-class player, and that's why Bayern Munich were willing to pay, 40 to 42.5 million euros at that point in his career when he had so little time left on his contract as well. So it doesn't look great for Klopp and Liverpool at the moment. As I said, even some of the best athletes, once you hit a point in time, you need to change. Something needs to change. And I don't think that Liverpool have the quality and depth to keep up the intensity and to keep up the motivational, just staying ahead of the curve and ahead of the game, because as poor as Manchester United look, they're at the start of an era, and I don't think they can get any worse than what they are now. City and Pep will continue to set the standard. Conte and Spurs are riding on a high, so are Arteta and Arsenal. Liverpool's sort of the odd one out here. I'm not too well invested in Chelsea this season because they can really go either way. But I think Klopp and Liverpool need to realize now that they're not in the same league that they're going to win 4-0, 4-1 every single weekend now. They're going to have to start grinding out results, and they're going to and to fight on all fronts, to fight on a European front as well this season. It's going to get tougher for them this season with a World Cup thrown in the mix as well.
Yeah, and when you've got a team full of superstars like Liverpool, they're going to suffer when it comes to World Cup. You pick up 1 or 2 injuries, they could be season ending. In saying that, a couple of seasons ago, there was cause for Van Dijk to win the Ballon d'Or. That's how prominent he was. And you look at how he performed against Manchester United. He made Harry Maguire look good on that front. Terrible defending. It was just They looked, like you said, they looked the shadow of their former self. At the same time, their class could be enough to squeeze them, I'd say, top 5. Contending for the title, I really think you really need to start. You really need to start changing things, and I think Mane saw the back end of that era ending, so he got out of there real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't have Salah pulling seasons out of his ass like he did the last couple of seasons. Every season, there's a limit. There's a threshold, and their main guy. Look, at the same time, they are suffering from a couple of injuries, but they're a team which are highly competitive, and like you said, they're fighting a battle on a fair few fronts here. So it will be quite interesting to see, match day 15, 16, where they're sitting in the Premier League.
Can we talk about Manchester United?
I was about to throw it to you. Manchester United, everyone's talking about them, not just you. First, it was the coach. Then it was the Glazers. Then it was Maguire and Ronaldo causing too many issues. What's the
Big up King Darian. What's the excuse? The excuses are none this time, apart from the fact that they've finally got a win on the board. This team needs to be okay with finishing 6th or 7th this season and continuing with Ten Hag and just going forward. Because one thing that the guy did that was different, he dropped Maguire, the captain, and Ronaldo and said, "Nah, I'm going with the most athletic, I'm going with the team that can beat Liverpool on the break." And he got Marcus Rashford on the break. Like, that's what Marcus Rashford does. He's one of the most overrated, overhyped footballers I've ever seen. I'm sorry. I've never thought that Marcus Rashford was ever going to be a world-class player. He's a good player. And the fact that he's homegrown and comes from United means he suits that club really, really well. But don't try and make him the Mbappe of the club, because it's not going to happen. It was never going to happen. But that's what he does really, really well. He can take a one-on-one if you give him time. He can break through a line faster. His acceleration is fantastic, even after a couple of injuries, including that really bad shoulder one that he's had as well. So United played well. They've got the win. Lisandro Martinez had a really, really good game in defense, which he really needed as well, which is only going to make Harry Maguire and the likes of Luke Shaw look at each other on the bench and question, oh, crap, we're in a little bit of trouble here, Governor. Because honestly, it's not looking great for those two, because Malacia played really well as well. So as long as Ten Hag can keep picking the fittest, best athletic players available that can play his system properly, this United team can only improve and gradually get back to a top 4 squad next season. Don't break the trend. Don't go out and just don't break what's going on right now, because they just got to be patient, because United aren't patient. And that's been probably the big cherry on top of their downfall the last decade, is their lack of patience.
Yeah, and I think you touched on a good point. Let Antag do what needs to be done. And we could see, if you followed the Dutch league, that team got raided after every season with their best players being taken, but they still remain dominant because he could mold the young players to fit his system. And he's such an admirable coach. And, he gets the 1 or 2 players which bring experience to the squad, but then he uses them to sculpt the players around them. And when you've got a team that's been so disjointed like Manchester United, and I say disjointed in the sense of they've had, I can't even tell you how many managers they've had over the last 6 years. And sometimes, after 2 or 3 managers, you got to look at it and be, all right, is it the manager or is it the playing group? And I think Antag's come in and said, well, we're going to do this my way. And he's got the right mentality. And I do think that he would be able to bring United back to their glory, in the sense of he needs time and he's got the money behind him. But it's time and you can't jump in. And we've got a couple of comments here. Tim, I'm on the bus coming back from a girls' school team who just got flogged. This helps soften the blow a bit. Our roundtable guest, regular Armando, how are you? But Mario, you've been quiet.
United have had this problem for so long, dating back to when Mourinho won Europa League with them. He said this team has too many egos. What do they do? Instead of getting rid of the players, they got rid of the coach. The next guy comes in, players are the problem. Next guy comes in, same players. It's been the same group more or less until Pogba's left. Think of it. I mean, it's there's been Lingard just left last year, whatever it was. Rashford's still there. They still have Maguire. They still have Luke Shaw. They still have De Gea, who's the most overrated keeper I've ever seen in my life. I don't know who their striker is because they haven't really had one since, other than Cavani. Ronaldo, you have to feed his ego because he's one of the best players to ever do it. I understand, so you have to feed that. But he's on the tail end of his career, and he has to get with it if it's not going to happen. And obviously, him being dropped helped in this situation. He has to become a role player. He has to be, like.
I feel Ronaldo's got to slip into the Ibrahimovic role and play a bigger room in the sheds than what he does on the field. Because,
correct. And I hope Ten Hag can take advantage of that.
Yeah,
because I mean, you have all the tools that you need. You have Ronaldo, the best player in the world. You have, one of the best players in the world to ever play. Then you have the role players that have been there. They've done that. They've won the Europa League. They've come from the other place. Casemiro is going to be a big help now that they just signed him, and he even play. It's small things like that. That really make a difference. And if you have the right environment, if everybody buys into what the coach and the management want to accomplish, I don't even think the coach and the management are on the same page. They've never been for as long as I've watched United since Alex Ferguson left. It's been management wants this, players want this, coach wants this. Everybody's a winner, but everybody's a loser, sort of thing. So this guy won here, this guy won there, this guy coached that team, but nobody's brought it together. Mourinho brought it together for a Europa League. Okay, and then what? Nothing. And that was, you could say it's a fluke, sure, but he had everyone buy into his system temporarily. The very least.
That's the problem, though. Temporarily, like how much resilience do these modern day athletes have, man? Because a lot of what Mourinho said about that existing squad at the time turned out to be true. Luke Shaw is sitting in the bench. Anthony Martial, I know he's in the first team now, but he just had an unsuccessful last 2.5 years. That included an unsuccessful loan to Sevilla. Paul Pogba, holy crap, we can get to Paul Pogba if you want a bit later with Juventus, but the red flags were there in his documentary when he spent half of his documentary injured, the other half of the time talking about how he can't wait to be an actor in Los Angeles. Is this really a guy that looks like he wants to be the best midfielder on the planet? Because that's what he was supposed to be in 2016 when United put 95 M's on him. He was meant to be the best in the world in 2016 when they bought him. He's gone back to Juve, borderline done.
How much do you buy him for?
United bought him for about 94 altogether and sent him straight back for free. He sent him straight back for free.
Twice.
Well, the first time was like 600K, 800K, less than $1 million.
He was end of contract.
End of contract, end of his youth development as well. He was ready for the first team. Yep. But at the time, Sir Alex didn't care too much for his... Well, Sir Alex knew he wasn't going to be around much longer. I don't need Paul Pogba to succeed. I'll be dipping in a couple of years anyway.
Yeah, and I think that's the issue when it comes to the Premier League as well. They have too much money, and too much money means, well, if this player doesn't work, I'm just going to buy someone else. Instead of, if this player doesn't work, and this is where Conte is so effective because we've seen him do it at every single club he's been at. If this player doesn't work, I'm going to take them off, train them personally for them to fit my system. Not, I'm going to sell them and get someone else and pay overs for because I'm desperate. So I think overall it is it's a struggle, but I think we leave the Premier League there. A big thank you to the 10 people who are in the chat. Head over to our Football Worldwide page. Give us a like, give us a subscribe to keep up to date with all things football. And I just got to chuck this comment up there. 100% right, Bruno. Thanks, Tim. It's not often that people agree, but when they do, it feels good. We will skip over Serie A briefly and move to La Liga because they've been transfers galore both in and out of the La Liga, with Barcelona just pulling something out of nothing. I thought the club was going broke, and now, they've signed almost every player you could imagine to build this team and finally registered a win after match day 2. So, Anthony, what's happening in there? Is Ancelotti and Real Madrid just too much to handle, or is the loss of Casemiro just gonna hold them back a little bit?
Bro, this is the best time for Real Madrid to cash in on Casemiro. This is perfect business. This is why they are football heritage. You can love them or you can hate them, but at the end of the day, Madrid's going to spit on you regardless of who, what, and where your opinion lies. And the reason is this: the way that they've done business in this market, they've just cashed in. How much did they get for Casemiro? 65 or 70?
Something like that.
Just about that.
Something like that. So they paid about they paid 50 or 60 for the guy from Monaco, the best defensive midfielder in France last season. Is it Tchouaméni? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Tchouaméni as well. And this is right after they did the exact same thing with Camavinga. They are set. That is an amazing piece of business for them to cash in on Casemiro, the same way it was an amazing piece of business to cash in on Rafael Varane. Real Madrid, Perez knows exactly what he's doing. Every inch square of the board, man. He's all over it. Their business elsewhere at the moment is very good. They came out of nowhere with 40 mil to get Rudiger as well. We know Bayern were in for him, Juventus, and all of the Italian media were already printing out jerseys. But that wasn't meant to be. They didn't really need to do much other than that in the market. Now, Barcelona have done everything they can to try and keep up. I read this interesting couple of articles and theories online, and I actually think this might be true. I think Barcelona know that there's a transfer ban coming up for them in the next maybe 6 to 12 months. I think that they know that they're going to get sanctions, and that's why they are stockpiling. They are getting a roster together that can survive 4 markets, a 2-year transfer ban. And if you're going to go out there and get Kwande, Lewandowski, Frank Kessier, Christensen, Penak, Rafinha, like far out, man. I think, did Pjanic even come back from Besiktas as well? Yeah, he did. Did they get Trincao from Wolves as well?
I don't think
Don't know.
so.
I don't know if they got Trincao from Wolves as well, but either or if he's coming back from loan, Barcelona are ready, and nothing less than a La Liga should suit them. But I guess Atletico Madrid would be the silent killers in the background again, but I'm not too sure how close they'll be able to get.
They got Trincao. Trincao's back.
Trincão's back at Barcelona?
I think so.
There you go. More depth. That could have been money that they could have sold, that they could have used to pay Frankie de Jong properly, pay Bordeaux for Marseille. They're breaking rules left, right, and center. Something tells me they know they're going to get done.
Yeah, and we know UEFA's let the COVID excuse go on long enough now, so they are going to come down hard when they do. And it happened to Chelsea, it happened to Inter, it happens everywhere, and Chelsea seemed to do extremely well when they had the transfer ban on them. So it wasn't that big of an issue, but they are definitely stockpiling.
Oh,
the
no,
start
Trincão's
of last
He's with Porto. Trincão's with
he went to Porto? I was going to say, good move for him, bro. How's he ever going to see the field? Ever?
Who knows?
Well, last season, Barca started off the season terrible. They had their manager. Messi left because of their financial situation. They couldn't afford to keep him there. They signed Aguero. He then had to retire due to health complications. And then they were as low as 10th on the La Liga ladder, and that was after 10 fixtures. I've never seen Barcelona that low since watching the La Liga.
Since before they had Ronaldinho.
Yeah. So and I didn't really watch the La Liga back then. So Then Xavi come into the picture, and everything seemed to have turned around when he came in. The players respected him, the fans respected him, the owners respected him, and now he's gone out and he's done all of this. Is Xavi the reason Barcelona have, I'm not going to say returned to their former glory because they're a long way from it, but return to a competitive stature within the league?
I think so, because when Xavi first came back to coach them, I watched a couple of their games last season, I think it was, and we saw them play terrible football. It was terrible by Barcelona standards. It wasn't even close to what they should be. He came in and the team looked brand new immediately. I was like, okay, I think they won the first couple games and they start to have a rocky kind of go at it. But watching them play, it reminded me of the Iniesta time, the Messi, early Messi days. I was like, okay, you know what, this makes sense right here. This team is playing. They're making the game theirs again. It wasn't this, oh, what are we gonna do? We have Messi on his last leg sort of thing. He's kind of just dogging it, and the players around him are just kind of like, okay, we'll wait for Messi to kind of score 7 goals and save us. That was how it was towards the end of Messi's time, and then at the beginning, as when he left, it was just like, what do we do now? Who do we go to? Where's Dembele? Why is he hurt? Sort of thing. Why is Aubameyang here? I thought he was at Arsenal. Like, they didn't. It was mass confusion. Xavi came in, cleaned that up. They looked phenomenal. I hate to say it because I don't like Barcelona like that, but they looked much better with him. So it doesn't surprise me that Barcelona will look better than they have in the past. And that's only just from like the short time I've seen, because usually you watch a team and by the little things that they do, the movement off the ball, the demeanor of the players on the field, how much they respect each other, how much they respect the game of the opposition. Um,
Yeah, it was good. I thought it was very funny.
so like for me, at the very least, I can tell when a team has something that they can build upon it, and I think that now that they have like just stockpiled talent left and right from goalie to freaking forward, I think that it's a recipe for success once they can be successful, if that makes
I
sense.
think Jonathan hit the nail on the head. The players want to play for Xavi, and there's a heightened level of respect for him. But at the same time, I think when Messi left, Barcelona went into this state of, well, let's now use our youth. And they had an extremely young starting 11 with their older players still playing. And, Ansu Fati, there was that poor Barcelona player that played, I think, a ridiculous amount of games between Euros, Olympics, and everything as well. And he was just fatigued. His name, Pedri, and they relied on these youth thinking we're going to build there. But the fans they're not going to accept we're going to build. They still want success. And then they brought in Aubameyang, and Xavi came in and said, this is what we need to do. And, Piqué took a wage cut. I think he's done it twice now. Plus, he took a bedroom cut with Shakira leaving as well. And, they've got their transfer market this season. Ran through a couple of the players, but just Lewandowski on his own has been absolutely phenomenal. When you've got the likes of Real Madrid saying, we've got Mbappe's signature on our contracts. He's our player. Sorry, he just re-signed for PSG. Oh, don't worry. We've got Haaland's signature on our contract. He's our player. Oh, he just signed for Manchester City. Oh, well, we're extending Benzema's contract with us. Well, how often can he do what he did last season?
He'll do it
But,
again and they'll win the Champions League. That's what they do.
I wouldn't be
yeah,
surprised. No, but I think that is. I mean, the players do want to play for Xavi, and I said this on the Palermo pod about Corini. When you have a legend in your presence as your coach, who knows what it takes, like when you come up as a Barcelona youth player, you look at Xavi, you idolize him. Now you're training with him every day. Not as a player, he's literally teaching you how to play the right way, because that's how he play the game the right way. Every little thing, from the looks over the shoulders to just finding a pocket of space, it makes a difference, and it's hard for people to just get the basics down. And he was a basic player. If you really think about it, what did he do? He didn't do moves. He didn't take shots from 40 yards out. He didn't knuckleball. He didn't do a flip throw in 40 yards like the stupid guy from Stoke City. You know, he found a pocket of space. He turned. He passed the ball.
Very good.
Nothing,
Dude, like,
nothing crazy about that.
Not only like is he the club a former player, but like he's that sort of player that's going to command respect straight away, because he's so many different avenues command his respect. The way the technical way that he play is the way that Barcelona are supposed to play football as a club. He's a cult figure of their most recent and greatest form of success. He represents everything that it means to be for that club. To go against the way that he wants to move forward in his direction would be to go against the grain of the club as a whole, and therefore get you straight on transfer list. So, which is what surprised me so much about them signing players like Aubameyang and Adama Traore, Memphis Depay, Martin Braithwaite, all those sort of signings. But we sort of knew that they were like more temporary signings than they were permanent.
And what did it show?
Exactly.
You
know,
they
haven't been great the last few years. They've been out of Champions League for one of those years. Did they eliminate Napoli in the round of 32, or did they get eliminated? Yeah, they did eliminate them, but they didn't go much further than that. And now there's a host of players that still need to leave from this residual era that they're about to break out from.
Yeah, they still have Busquets, old. PK is
very old.
Jordi Alba,
these
old.
Players, I think these players have taken like a huge pay cut, but like I'm talking 60-70%. They're like what they consider to be playing for pennies, which is our yearly salary.
They can be making crazy money in Shanghai and in Dubai, all these places where the Arab Emirates, Qatar, all these places where they just want the name. They don't care if you score one goal, if you score 100 goals. They want an ex-Barcelona player.
Yeah.
Like Cucurella, he was a ex-Barcelona player. He grew up to the youth ranks. I wanted to mention it before, but whatever. So that's why he's like this no name that we say, but he's actually like sort of been there. He knows what it takes. He had the right come up. He's played with some of the best players in the world, and then he just goes to the Premier League out of nowhere. But really, he's a good player.
Yeah,
and you look at the likes of Oscar, who I think he was 23 or 24, and went to play in China. Why? He was making bang, close to $1 million a week. So money plays a big role. Your name plays a big role. Where you've come from plays a big role. And legacy is everything when it comes to the La Liga, especially Barcelona and Real Madrid. With this Real Madrid era, when you've had a Barcelona team which contained Suarez, Messi, and Neymar, and Madrid just managed to continue and dominate, just shows how the caliber of football is in Spain. But let's move on. Serie A, we're excited. We love it. It's our bread and butter. There were some big moves. And after 2 match days, there's been some surprising results. And we'll start straight off the top. Napoli. They did... we're going to have the round table shortly, but if Ant wants to intertwine it.
I was about to say, man, like I was going to do a round table later today, but I don't have many guests lined up. So if you guys are willing to do it, I've got a slideshow right now for Serie A ready to go. What do you think, Mario? And then what is it, 34:30? We'll just clip it and upload it as a separate video as well later on the channel.
Let's go for it. So while Ant's sorting that out and he's taking control of the reins, Napoli managed to sign that many players in the last week under everyone's noses. Like, it was, there's rumors Ndombele, there's rumors Raspadori, and then there's rumors Simeone, and out of nowhere, bang, 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 like, they're Napoli players. Like my Serie A fantasy, half the players turned to Napoli, and I had to get rid of them because I had too many of them. I was like, what happened here? So, are they contenders for the Serie A this year if they can maintain it? Just going off the 2 games.
No.
And can you Eduardo's comment here? Leao's news. What happened?
There's news?
A bit oblivious.
I said it a while back when these rumors started. If this was Inter with Suning's ownership, it would be all over every headline everywhere. Leao is the MVP of Serie A. There's no contract renewal. There's no date set for a discussion with Maldini or the other director's name. I keep forgetting whether it's Masada or Masari. It's probably Masada because that's too close to Matsari. But like, if these rumors are true, the Milan fans online saying, there's no way that we'll sell him for less than 120, 150 million. These are fantasy figures. If any offer above 65, 70 comes in for Leao, they will take it. They will take it for sure. Leao wants to go to a bigger, flashier club. Milan is huge. Football-wise, it's tier 1. Market-wise, it's not. Flash-wise, drip-wise, modern-day football-wise, it's still not. It's up there, but it's not PSG. It's not Real Madrid. It's not Manchester City. It's not Barcelona.
It's old news.
It's old news. Exactly right. It's not fresh. It's not fresh.
It's history. It's they were good in the 90s. They were good in the 80s, the early 2000s. But now you look, PSG, City, Dortmund, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barcelona, all these teams. They are the now teams.
Yes, and Leao's a now drippy sort of guy. So he wants to go. He wants to go where the Instagram posts and the Twitter posts are the hottest. So, Napoli contenders. Let's get to them in just a second because the first ones on the slideshow. I don't know if you boys saw this. Domenico Berardi had goal of the season contender already for Sassuolo. It would have been nice if he put 1/8 of the power behind the shot against North Macedonia into an open net that he did on this half volley from 30 yards out. This was a really, really good goal, but a really good goal. And he's just signed a new contract with Sassuolo as well. Mario, that's it for Berardi, man. For me, like, he probably should have taken a big move by now. He's had a couple of offers from Milan and Juve over the last 3-4 seasons, Napoli as well. But it looks like this guy's going to stay at Sassuolo for the rest of Serie A.
Yeah, unless Palermo get promoted, I reckon he'll be the front runner. And I'm not being a smartass. I just see him going to a club like Palermo and running right there. I know the question was directed at Mario, but
that's a fair point. I mean, I guess there's a few minority. When I say minority, it's like 3 people in the world that would actually like say, hey, like, I'm willing to go from a team like Sassuolo to an equally small or smaller team like Palermo or Monza or whatever, just to, be the guy. They want to be the guy, some of these guys. Like, if you put Berardi in a Real Madrid team, is he going to show up? No. He's going to fall in. He's going to become Mauricio Isla. Signed by Juve. He played 3 games, sat on the bench for 15 years, won 25 trophies. I think he kind of understands that he I would hope. I mean, this is just me talking out of my, off the top of my head, my culo. So, like, what do I know? I'm not in the guy's head, but who knows? If he hasn't taken a big offer or a contract from a big team by now, unless he wants to do like a Di Natale and stay with Sassuolo the whole time, good for him. That's probably what's going to happen. I don't think he's going to leave. He's going to be a one-club player because people idolize those kind of guys. He'll be a Sassuolo legend. He'll be known as the Di Natale of Sassuolo, the Totti of Sassuolo, the Maldini, the Zanetti. You can go on and on and on with all these players, which still aren't even that many. Like, okay, I'll give you a good one. The Tommaso Berni of Sassuolo.
Ranocchia. Look, I think Sassuolo as a whole, they bounced back well after their 3-0 loss to Juventus last week. they did beat Lecce 1-0. But this is the same Lecce that kept Inter on their toes for 90 minutes. And, that's no easy feat in when it comes to golf in experience in Serie A. So they have done well. Berardi, he should have left a couple of years ago. He hasn't. So I think with, Sassuolo losing, who was a Raspadori, I don't really see them getting rid of him. And
They
Scamacca.
lost both. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really see them getting rid of him anytime soon.
No.
So it'll be quite interesting. But what do you guys? I know the topics are swallow, but they did beat Lecce. Did Lecce have it in them to stay up this year, just based off these two performances?
Well, there's 0 points from 2 games, so that's not the best start. They're going to struggle all season long. They don't have the squad to compete really. Like Falcone is a good goalkeeper, Colombo is a good forward, and Frabotta on loan from Juve is not too bad. But I just don't think they've got the quality really. They'll be battling it all season, right up until last match day for sure.
It comes down to what they want to do with the other small teams that are fighting for the relegation, lower mid-table teams. If they can steal a point from Inter, from Juve, from Roma, from whoever, it's huge for them. So that's really what they're playing for. They're not playing to win. They're not playing to. They're playing to steal points at this. Like they don't really have much to play for. So
and they almost did it as well in match day 1.
Can they do it? I would hope so. I mean, I don't really hope bad on the kind of club like that they are.
As the season goes on, some of these sides will look at the calendar and go, like, for example, I haven't got the calendar in front of me, but say Lecce were to look at their calendar and say, oh, we've got Inter, and then we've got Roma, and then we've got Spezia. We might rest players for the majority of the Inter and Roma game, knowing too well we can go full throttle and get 3 points against Spezia.
They've got
those sort of relegation head-to-heads become huge.
They've got Empoli, then they've got Napoli, Torino, then they've got Monza, Salernitana, Cremonese.
That's their season right there.
You got to pick up points before the World Cup, man. You got to pick up points before the World Cup. That's honestly
their season. They need to get something from Empoli.
I don't think they do.
Then they've got 2 tougher games, but then they've got Monza, Salernitana, Cremonese. If they can't get 6 out of 9 points there, I'm ready to write them off. And that's what match day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, match day 8, and I'm ready to.
You can't write anybody off after what Salernitana did last season. But Lecce, it's going to be tough, bro.
Salernitana bought a whole new team for the second half,
and a new manager and sporting director as well.
They had to, though.
Yeah, they did have.
They were forced into it. If Lecce doesn't have to, that it's just going to stay the same, and they might just fall into mediocrity. Yeah. So I think Salernitana is a really, really specific, isolated case because they were forced to sell.
What happened to Leicester will happen every year when they won the Premier League.
It's not going to happen.
It's not. But we've seen stranger things in Serie A.
We've seen very strange things.
This isn't the Premier League. This is the Serie A where anything's possible.
We saw Palermo in second place for half the season when they first got promoted.
Yeah.
Kiev were coming first after 18 rounds in like 2003, 2004. Yeah. I remember that. That was interesting. You know what else is interesting? Death taxes and Chris Smalling at the back post. I love Chris Smalling, bro. What a don. What a don, bro. He was like one of the few players at Man United, like we spoke about before, that actually did get it under Mourinho. And that's why that Mourinho has left. He's gone, oh, yeah, I remember Chris Smalling. He actually works hard compared to the other athletes in the world these days. We'll just bring him back with me. I love Chris Smalling, man. And I like the fact that Roma have got 3 points again, boys, because they are going to continue to ride this wave of Mourinho, this wave of Dybala, this wave of hype. It's unfortunate that our good friend Adam is not here to join us for this podcast, but how you feeling, Mario, about Roma so far? 6 points out of 6. They got to be thinking that top 4 is a minimum expectation this season.
I like Roma this year. I hated them last year, as everyone should have, but everybody loved them for some reason when we did our podcast and all that bullshit. I was like, oh, Mourinho's going to save them. But then again, I was the same way with Allegri. So, let's all be on the same playing field. We even out, okay? So, no, but this year I like them. I think they brought in a good team. I think Mourinho in the second year is going to do damage because he has more of a team that he wants. He has the players that know his style now, and they know what he wants, what he demands. and he's going to take them and teach them what it takes to win and be successful. It's up to them to follow that at this point. Like, he has Dybala, winner. He has Smalling, who is good because he's a Premier League player who learned how to play soccer and once he came to Italy. It happened. We've seen it how many times now, and it's about to happen to Mkhitaryan too. I bet. Wouldn't be surprised. Actually, no. It already happened to him. He freaking was with Roma. I'm sorry. But yeah, any play from Mourinho. So Smalling is in like the perfect place right now to have the season of his life and probably be like contender for player of the season, even if I was to even throw out a hot take like that. I like Roma this year. I think Tammy Abraham in his second year is going to be just as good.
Yep.
He's used to the league. He knows more Italian, probably, I'd assume. He's got Dybala behind him. He has he doesn't have Zaniolo. He doesn't have Wijnaldum, but I still think that they have weapons around him that he can still be dangerous.
Yeah. Side question for you, Bruno, so we're not lingering on each game too long. Next week, Juve versus Roma. Who do you fancy?
I fancy Roma. I really do. I think Mourinho's mentality going into the game. A lot of, you go back 2 seasons and you say Zaniolo injured, Roma's out for a couple of weeks until Zaniolo returns. But this isn't that same team. And Zaniolo came out straight away and he said, he's put a photo on his Instagram saying a few weeks to all the haters or something like that. Just showing, the man who was supposedly leaving the club, according to Italian media. So just shows where they're at. But I do really like Roma and the way they've been built this season. They're deadly. And, Smalling and Dybala are fantastic additions to the squad, which was already great. And he got rid of some dead wood in Mkhitaryan and sent him, Inter's way. And he replaced them with better players, and that's what a great manager does. And we've seen what Mourinho's capable of in Italy at Inter, so it wouldn't surprise me. But once we get to Juve, we'll talk about Juve, but they're just in a different world at the moment.
It's also worth stating that last season, the comeback, the 4-3 win for Juve against Roma, Mourinho said in his post-match conference, he said, we lost the game because they were up 3-1. He goes, we lost the game when we were still winning 3-2 because you can't concede a goal against Juve and their mentality at that point of the game when our mentality is where it's at. So you best believe he's going to go into this game and tell them if there is a team that you cannot let your guard down against, it's going to be Juventus. So hopefully they do come away with something. Now, I'm going to go over to Mario to throw it off. There is no way I'm going to let it take as long this season for me to pronounce this guy's last name as it did for me to pronounce Sombongisa. I was calling him Anguissa for up until match day 1920.
Zambo.
Zombongisa. I know how to say it really well, but there is absolutely no way I'm giving this guy's name a crack yet. It's 2 weeks in a row. My goal is to be able to say his name by next roundtable. Can you?
Kawada? I don't even know what his last name is, honestly. I just saw it.
I'm just going for Kavachala, something like that, man. But I'm going to have to go back and listen to Patrick Kendrick on commentating the game. I think that's who was covering it for Serie A this week. But what a start he has made, man. What a start. What an upgrade on what is now looking like a slow, outdated Lorenzo Insigne, man. It's a huge upgrade at 21 years of age, the Georgian footballer. This is going to be a guy. He's got 3 goals in 2 games. This is going to be a guy that helps Napoli a lot this season. What are you saying, boys? What are you saying, Mario?
I like Napoli this year. I liked them last year. I think that Spalletti is still the right man for this team. I don't think the thing with them is I don't think they have what it takes to push for the Scudetto yet. I think maybe next year we'll see them pushing for that first position. I think this year they're playing for second, third, which is still it's still a really good position for them because they got rid of Mertens, Petagna, Fabian Ruiz, Osimhen, the keeper.
Wait, did you just say Osimhen? They did get rid of Osimhen.
Sorry, Koulibaly.
Koulibaly, yeah. They got rid of Mertens, but with Insigne and Mertens, those players had to leave. They had
Yeah.
to leave. They had to leave, man. Like, I didn't like the idea of all their leaders leaving at once. But going forward, you just got to really trust the present moment, because Insigne playing for Toronto and Mertens. Where did Mertens even end up going? France?
TikTok.
Maybe.
Oh my
Did
god!
he go to France?
I forgot. I was looking at it.
Oh no, he went to Galatasaray. That's right.
Yes,
Really
yes,
good.
yes, yes.
Good move. I like Galatasaray. I should have known that.
Yeah.
I like Galatasaray.
I hate that they just sold everybody at once. I think that's demoralizing, but at the same time, it gives the players confidence because they're like, okay, I have to step up now. Mario Rui, I think he's a great left back. He has to step up. Di Lorenzo has to be a leader now because national team player, local boy, whatever. He has to step up. The midfield of Lobatka, who's actually really good, Zielinski, who's a great player, inconsistent but great, and Zambonguisa, good, probably their best signing last season. And they added Ndombele also from Tottenham. So
did you even talk about how they added Giovanni Simeone as well?
No, I didn't even get there yet. Simeone, the door, Kakakaladze on the left side, Lozano still on the right side. I think they have a good team. I think they have a young, good, confident team, and it showed in their first couple of games. The first game they won 4-0. What was it?
I think they won 4-2 against Verona in Verona, and then they won 4-0. 5-2, yeah, then they won 4-0.
And they played an excellent game. And Verona is a team that they would lose points to. The second game, what was it? 1-0? 2-0?
4-0.
4-0.
Sorry,
They scored 9 goals in 2 games.
Yeah. They look good. I don't know how good they'll look against like the Inter, the Juve, Roma, Milan. That's where I need to see what it is. But like I say for Inter, but winning those games aren't going to win you the league. Taking a dump on Verona and who they play this weekend?
Monza. They played Monza.
And Monza, that's where you win the league. You're going to win the league winning these games. And if they win these games, steal points from a couple games against the top 4, you're pushing for a Scudetto. And hopefully they can do that because I like watching Napoli. I think I'm their biggest fan. I'm the biggest Napoli fan in the world. But I don't think they're going to push for the first yet. I think next year they clean up. They might even clean up the league, honestly.
Yeah, fair call.
Look,
good.
I think they've done well.
Oh, this guy, the center back, he's
good.
Also top tier.
Very good.
Yeah,
I think they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think losing the players they did, we didn't know it, but they removed the cancer within the squad. Koulibaly maybe is the outlier here, but when you had Insigne and Mertens and they just could not string something together properly, they didn't know it at the time, but they removed the cancer within the squad because they've just reformed. And, they sent Patania out on loan to Monza, I believe. And they're sending their younger players to get experience, but at the same time, they've reinforced and they've created something amazing with this squad. But I think you're on the ball when you say they're not going to compete for a Scudetto, but at the same time, they're going to be causing problems and they should be easily in that top 4.
Well said. How bad is Ranocchia for Monza Frog's injury? He's going to miss at least 3 to 4 games, man. He's been ruled out of Roma, and to be honest, it did look a little bit worse than that. So I have a feeling that he's going to be out for a while.
They got Raspadori too.
They got Raspadori as well, yeah. So they got the depth. They finally got the quality and depth that they need. This is Spalletti's best-looking squad since he finished runner-up to Inter in his Roma side. This is his best-looking squad since that squad with De Rossi and Totti and Dzeko in it, man. Mm-hmm. Has to be.
For sure.
I think it had Dzeko in it. I don't know. Can't remember.
I need my question was always in their midfield. Their center midfield, because last year they lost a couple guys and they were scrambling. Lobatka, they had to play out of form.
Yeah.
And eventually he found his form towards the end of the season, and they were like, wow, this guy's great. And I was like, yeah, he was good in freaking Germany when you guys signed him. Like, a lot of people wanted this guy for a reason. Sure, he had a little bit of a chubby stomach, but whatever. He worked with it. It was deceiving, and he figured it out. And now this season, in the 2 games we watched, he's been one of their best, if not their best player.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's move on to Inter. Nice and quick. We don't need to cover Inter too long on this show. We never do because we do a lot of it on Inter Worldwide. 3-0 against Spezia. The combination of Lautaro and Lukaku is back. I'm not tooting horns or anything because you need to be able to beat Spezia's if you're going to go on to do things like challenge and win the league. But this team probably looks the most jointed, fluid-wise on the pitch out of anyone in Serie A at the moment. I don't think anyone will disagree with that. It's only going to take a couple of bad games and a bad spell to break that sort of combination. But at the moment, the question I keep asking myself is, Anthony, which player in Inter is currently out of form? Which player at Inter is currently underperforming? And the actual real answer to that is zero. There is not an underperforming player in this team at the moment. You could argue give or take. There's a little bit in one or two players, but there is pretty much not a single player on this team that is not performing the actual role that they are meant to be doing in a club to a degree. 6 points out of 6. We'll go to Bruno quickly first and then Mario, and then we'll move on to Milan straight away. You're muted, Bruno.
Look, I think he hit the nail on the head, spot on. They got 3 points against Lecce. They got 3 points against Spezia. These are 6 points which they should be getting with their eyes closed. With the caliber of players that they've got there, I think bringing on Lukaku into the squad has been a fantastic move. At the same time, keeping Dzeko and Correa as backups is also a very good move. Euro Chance in the chat. Gossens too, he needs time to adjust. I don't think he's underperforming. I think he's still learning in this Inter squad. And I think that's the big difference people need to I think that's the big thing people need to realize when it comes to players like Gossens. He's not playing bad. He's just still learning the ways of Inter. But this squad and, comfortably up 2-0 takes off both Martinez and Lukaku to bring on Dzeko and Correa, and they still keep adding to the tally. You weren't here, Ant, but I was saying that's the best thing Inzaghi and Marotta have done for this club in the sense of they kept Correa, they kept the Dzeko, and Inzaghi's rotating them adequately. So he's getting both the quality players to score the goals, but he's bringing them on to rest, Lukaku and Martinez, where you won't see them burning out like they did last season.
Yep, pretty much, man. Mario, what are you saying? Simone Inzaghi has had to put up with a little bit in the back room, man. He's had to put up with a lot of media scrutiny, but he's doing a job very well.
Yeah, just to kind of add to what Bruno was saying before about Lukaku being added in the depth. This is something we missed last year because we didn't really have. Maybe we did, but it wasn't the same. We didn't have that. Actually, no. For the first, we didn't have the depth at striker. We had not Pinamont, the other guy, Esposito. No,
Esposito Satriano.
We had Satriano last year as our fourth striker.
Well, not until we sent him on loan to was it Brest?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But we had Dzeko, Lautaro, and then
Alexis Sanchez,
Correa, and Sanchez. Yeah, true. So we did have the depth, but I feel more confident with these four, with Dzeko coming off the bench, with Correa coming off the bench when he's fit.
Dzeko is a timeless player, man. Dzeko's ability is one of those that does not fade quickly, man. And that's a big reason why. Like, if he didn't stay at Inter, I believe the rumors that Juventus asked about him. I even believe the rumors that Carlo Ancelotti put his hand up and went, can we get Dzeko on a free? Like, that's a timeless sort of player, man. And to have him on your bench ready to go for 20 fresh minutes, different ball game than asking him to play 94 and drop back and pick the ball up in a number 10 role half the time.
Like I said last year, I was like, Dzeko's a good player to have. I don't care how old he is, how many minutes he's playing. I didn't really care too much about it because I was like, this guy is elite. He's gonna be fit. He's gonna put in the time. He's gonna play 90 minute after 90 minute after 90 minute, and still give you more or less good performances. And he did up until we all fell apart. It wasn't just Dzeko falling apart. When we were in our rut from January until March, it was literally everybody because you can't blame it on him. right? It's a team. Lautaro wasn't scoring that much. The midfield was okay. The defense was making mistakes. We weren't winning games, and you can't blame one person for that. Yeah, this Zaki subs they do need some work.
Beautiful image there.
Played well, man. When we did our preview, Bruno, you got the scoreline right, but I got the score sheet right, man. Like Hakan grabbed a goal. I knew he was gonna grab a goal. The guy does not want to look like a bitch. Sorry, lack of a better term. He does not want to look like a bitch. He wants to look like a high-performing athlete, a successful athlete. That guy, Bruce di Culo, man, is still burning about Milan and Ibra and literally, sorry for my language, being called figlio di putana in front of the entire city on the Milan team bus. The guy got put in a spliff and smoked by the red and black half of Milan, and he needs a big season to come back. Hakan, for me, had about a 6.8, 6.9 season for Inter last season. He's going to have a bigger one this season, I reckon, Mario.
I would say he's in like the sevens because for most of the season he was consistent until the whole team fell apart. Like the beginning of the season, he was our best player. At the end of the season, he turned it up again.
Yeah, he did.
Like I think he was better than the optics gave him because there was how many times did we praise him on the podcast? Almost more often than not.
Put it this way: did we praise Barella as much as we praised Hakan last season? No. Did we even praise Brozovic as much as we praised Hakan last season?
Brozovic maybe. Brozovic he's always been good. But I don't think we need to tell you that. You know, it's more of a universally thing.
Hakan had, I think it was December into January, where there was 5 or 6 games where they were consistent 10s, and he was scoring, he was dominant, and he was consistent, and he was just the most talked about team. And I think even FIFA had him as Serie A Player of the Month twice.
He was good last year. I would give him a little bit.
I just think he sort of shot himself in the foot with the comments he made.
You're right, because if we won the Scudetto, we'd be sitting here talking about how we had an 8 out of 10 first season. So
anyway,
you are right.
We talk about Inter a bit too much. Let's move on.
Milan dropped points. Milan dropped points. That's the headline. Milan dropped points. Although a trip to Bergamo is not easy. However, they didn't play that well. But someone Mario and I have always bigged up scored again. Bro, Malinowski would walk headfirst into why is this guy not playing for Real Madrid? Why is the guy not playing for Barcelona?
He's leaving now, isn't he?
Huh?
He's leaving.
Yeah, he's leaving. He's still supposed to be leaving. Anyway,
God.
That guy, man, he is just going to score against every team when you let him take half a second on the ball to line up a shot. He makes it 1-0. Benacer scores an equally as good goal in this game, I must say, to make it 1-1. It was an absolute cracker from Benacer.
He reminds me of Recoba.
He does a little bit, doesn't he?
Left foot, can score from anywhere, and it's not just going to be like a bullshit kind of like tap in or like a one-on-one with a goalie. He's going to rip it from 20 yards out, and it's going to be upper 90. It's going to go all over the place. It's going to dip, curl, outside, curve. He's going to make it nice.
Now, for a title-winning side, it's a very inactive market in the grand scheme of things. And I know that not just by watching the market, but by watching the Milan fans reacting on social media as well. Especially after this result, I think that they needed to be a little bit more active in this market and just be a little bit more aggressive, because the whole rumors of them being injected with such a big amount of money, 300 million, I don't think it was really true. I think there was a lot more going on in the background than just a buyout from this group. I don't know if Bruno can shed more light, but they looked a little stale. They missed out on a couple of big transfer targets. I still think they'll win more than enough games to make the top 4 this season, but I'm not too sure that they can repeat the heroics and challenge for the league. That could be my famous last words. I think I had them in 4th last season, to be honest, before they won the league. So don't listen to what I say, but just going off what I see, they just didn't look too fluid, Bruno.
Look, I think you hit the nail on the head. Milan dropped points, but at the same time, it's one of those things where this team has the momentum and they've got the capability to stand out against everyone. And we saw it last season where, the loss of Ibra was something massive, but he motivated them more from the sheds than what he did on the pitch. Giroud, this guy, he's come out of nowhere and he's he was the catalyst for their Scudetto run at the back end of the season. We kept saying Milan are going to drop points. Milan are going to drop points. They never did. Losing Kesse was massive. Losing Leao will be even bigger for them. So
Yeah.
if they can manage to keep him until the end of this season, I do think they will be keeping their one hand on the Scudetto. But at the same time, winning one is tough in Italy. Winning two in a row is even harder. And it doesn't matter if you've got the best squad. It's the squad who plays better on the pitch. And I think that's what we saw last season with AC Milan. They weren't the best squad, but when it came to game day, they knew what to do. And that's why, a lot of people didn't have them as their winners. This is just a little hiccup on the road for them. I think ultimately they're going to run away. They're going to continue to contend. And Ibra's coming back. We can almost guarantee he'll be on that pitch again. And that's just a different element to their game. Inter, they've had an easier run to start with.
Yeah.
But you'll see where AC Milan are at. I think it's match day 5 where they have the derby. And I think you'll learn a lot about both teams come derby day.
Well said. Let's pump through the rest of these games. There's your boy Vecino there in a pretty boring board draw 0-0. I was going to go back and watch it after the Inter game, but Uncle Sharma said don't go back and watch it, and I'm glad I didn't because apparently it was absolute trash. I watched the extended highlights, but a disappointing result really for both sides, more so for Sardi's Lazio. They're going to, for lack of a better league, I think this Lazio team is not bad. This Lazio team does not play bad football. What it is it's exactly where it needs to be in this league. It's just not as good as a few other sides. And there aren't as many goals as Ciro Immobile can score this season, Mario, to bail them out of a top 4 fight because they'll be in one. I don't know if they'll get it, but they can't win Serie A. Lazio can't win Serie A.
No shot. They had their chance a couple of years ago, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was the one and done. They're not the same team. They're not going to be the same team. Sarri he's a good coach. Don't get me wrong, but
he is a good coach. He is a good coach.
But I think this is an adventure that it's just beginning for him. If that makes more sense.
I was just going to say, I mentioned it in the roundtable last week. Discipline is going to be a massive thing when it comes to this season. Players are going to be missing big games. The likes of Ciro Immobile, this is the second week in a row where he's gotten a yellow card, I think, in the 90th plus minute. After last week was the 91st minute. This week was the 94th minute, And I think it was after 90 minutes, Lazari, Milinkovic-Savic, and Immobile all picked up a yellow. When you're picking up yellows that late in the game, it's for one reason, and that is frustration. Extreme frustration. And Immobile is a player Lazio will struggle without. And if he's on 2 yellow cards after 2 games, he's going to be missing 3 or 4 games due to suspension, the rate he's going at. So discipline is going to be critical for this Lazio team. And they really got to mature because I do feel this team is capable of competing. They definitely should be in Europa League. They should be ultimately contending for Champions League or causing problems, not be out of the running, before the season is halfway through.
There's still so long to go, man. There'll be moments this season where you look at Lazio.
It's still so long to go, but the point I'm trying to make is 2 yellow cards after 2 games for the most prolific striker at Lazio in Immobile is not a good sign for things to come. When the rate he's going, he's going to be missing match day 6. He's going to be missing match day 11, match day 16. If you're picking up a yellow card a game, that's the way it's going. And you're a striker, you shouldn't be getting yellows this often.
No,
fair enough. I mean, Juventus dropped points. 0-0 against Sampdoria. It was not a good game. This guy had 8 touches altogether in the game, 3 of them inside the box. It was not a good look for him at all. The passages of play under Allegri are just stale. Allegri's football is just stale. I'm seeing a lot of fans starting to turn on him already. At the end of the day, it is Juve. They'll remain my favorite until I see them lose or drop enough points to suggest that you can't actually pick up enough form to recover from here. And that's what happened last season. Like, it got to a point where they were starting to sneak up close by, and there was the only split moment where I thought they could overtake Inter was on match day 33 when we played them head-to-head in Turin, and they could finally jump us. But other than that, they didn't improve enough on the pitch last season to threaten. And at the moment, unless their transfers hit, and I mean hit well, they can't improve. And guess what? So far, their two major transfers have not just hit not well, they have hit disastrously. And I know Angel Di Maria's goal is fantastic. I know he's a world-class player, but he played one game, boys. He's injured. Paul Pogba had 2 training sessions. He's out until December, where he will play the World Cup. And he will either A, get re-injured, or B, not get injured and opt to have surgery and fulfill the surgery into the next phase of next year. Juventus will pay him almost 7 million euros before he kicks a ball for them this season. It's not the best look. I don't like talking about it too much, though, but listen to me.
Yeah, look, I think you said it, and it was spot on. Allegri is the issue, and his comments after the Sum game, and I've just got it up here on my phone. Speaking about formation always makes me laugh. Playing football is very simple. You need to pass the ball to the man wearing the same shirt as you. That does not sound like a manager.
He's taking
Sounds like a president,
now, bro. He's
That
taking
sounds
the
like a
piss
president.
now.
He sounds like a politician. He sounds like a politician. He sounds like he's trying to appease everyone. You're managing a football squad without structure. You have anarchy. If you're the coach, ultimately you're leading this squad, and if you can't tell them where they need to be, they're not going to perform. And by making comments like that, it just undermines the legacy of Juventus. And I know we don't like saying it, but this club is the biggest club in Italy. They've got the biggest legacy. And when you've got a manager like that making comments like that, it's worrying. If I was a Juventus fan, a Juventino, I would be quite worried. As a Serie A fan, it's enjoyable because you like to see Goliath fall.
Yeah. Kostic played well, though. He was one of their few players that played well. But once again, just playing in a system that he's going to have to grow into more than not. It's going to get tougher before it gets easier. And they've got a fair few players that will go to the World Cup. In fact, a fair few players that will go to the World Cup. So, watch this space. As I just said, points before the World Cup, vital for the bigger teams. After the World Cup, though, it becomes a free-for-all for teams in mid-table and the bottom half if they could pick up some points for teams that were injured. Disappointing result for Vincenzo Italiano and his men, 0-0 for Fiorentina and Matteo Destro's Empoli. It wasn't that bad of a game, though. There was a few back and forth, Jules, but they need to pick up better points than that this season. I just wanted to get Mario's quick 1-minute opinion. Where do you think Fiorentina will finish on the ladder this season?
5th or 6th. I like them this year. I think they put together a really good team.
Nice. That Jovic, can he do the job that Vlahovic did? Yes. I don't know, man.
Better.
Yes? Better. Yeah, you as well, Bruno.
I think they actually have a team around him to make him succeed.
Fair enough.
I don't like. There's Vlahovic.
Do you think he was overpriced at 75 M's?
Big time. I don't like him. I don't like him like that. I don't think he's that good of a player. I think he could be good. Age aside, 21, 22, whatever, I get it. I don't think he has it yet. Does that make sense? Like
100%.
He's very inconsistent for my liking. Like he'll show up and play the best game of his life. He'll be Serie A top player of the week, but then go missing. And then when he's missing. He like 6 touches at Juve missing consistently.
And for that price tag, those are the price tags where you're not meant to ever go missing. Or if you do, you come back and you don't go missing again for a few months.
Mm-hmm. I said the same thing about Osimhen. I was like, okay, 80 million, but like you're not signing him to be good in 3-4 years. You're signing to be good now. You're not signing. And the guy got hurt. He was suspended. He was injured, and he played like 10 games in the first season. Then they're like, oh no, it's fine. He had the most goals on if the game was 45 minutes long and every game was played in Napoli. He was the best player ever. I was like, no, you lost this transfer so far in my eyes.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, thanks, boys. I'll finish off Serie A. Bologna 1, Verona 1. Orsolini had a really funny red card after having a goal disallowed as well, and Henry scored, I'm pretty sure, for Verona. If you guys are listening now or listening back, there is a funny moment from Verona last week. There was a goal scored and Lasagna gets punched in the face. So go and see that in the celebration. It's actually quite funny. 1 point each for Verona and Bologna. Arnautovic grabbing another goal for Bologna as well. He's just going to continue to stat pad his way to another good season. How can you not like him at the end of the day? Treble winner for Inter. Only player to be celebrating in that crowd with the trophy without a jersey on. And there was one other player that was doing that. Do you know who it was?
Quaresma.
Yes. Straight away. Did not even have to wait for that. Board draw. Worst game of the round goes to Salernitana 0, Udinese 0. Nothing much to say. DLFO had a stinker. It's only worth noting that Candyman Candreva is playing for Salernitana this season, in case anybody did not know. Follow Antonio Candreva. He's an absolute legend. Yeah, I know you didn't know that. Don't worry. I didn't know until match day 1. And so I saw the lineups. I'm like, oh, all right.
I was watching the Sampdoria game the other day, and I could have swore I saw him.
No, you didn't. All right, that's it for Serie A. Thanks, Bruno, for letting me jump in.
No problems. We will quickly touch on Ligue 1 of France. It's all about PSG. I think they won 7-1 against former champs Lille on the weekend with Mbappe scoring after 8 seconds of play in the first half. It was kickoff, Neymar, Verratti to Messi, through ball to Mbappe, goal. Quickest goal in Ligue 1 history, and probably quickest goal in... it would probably be the quickest goal scored this season, unless Inter choke at some point and concede after 3 seconds. But yeah, PSG absolutely dominating. 3 games in, 17 goals for, 3 against.
I like Lyon this year.
You like Lyon. I like Lyon too, but I don't think they're anywhere near the caliber of PSG.
No, but I think they pull in second spot this year.
Yeah, look,
they're under new ownership now.
Ligue 1 was very competitive last season in regards to from second down. And I just think there'll be a bit more of a distinction this season where you'll know way before last match day that Lyon has qualified. Marseille pulling in some good results as well. But PSG, I think they're the only team to talk about when it comes to the Ligue 1 because of so much drama and advertisement for them, because they've got every player everyone wants in their FIFA squad all in the same team, and personally I think they will draw far enough to focus solely on Champions League and win the league with their eyes closed. Anthony, do you think this squad can win the Champions League this year?
I was about to say, I reckon PSG actually look the best that they've looked in the last maybe 5 years. They're actually playing a brand of football that fits everybody in that lineup. They've got depth as far as the eyes can see. It's still absolutely ridiculous in terms of the relative strength of the league. They'll win the French league by, in my opinion, I'm calling it right now, in between 21 to 30 points. They are going to absolutely take a dump on that league this season. And it's going to be ugly. I don't think the whole Mbappe, Neymar tiff behind the scenes has too much substance. These are adults at the end of the day that know exactly what they're getting into. And that team has been a superstar galactic PlayStation team for years. It would be stupid of Neymar and Mbappe to now have a little bit of an egotistical battle after how much they've been through the last few seasons together. I don't think that they've actually got beef. I think that they will get to the final or the semi-finals again of the Champions League. Will they win it? God, I hope not, because I still hate them. It's like a top 5 hated club of mine in the world. And for as long as Mauro Icardi resides there in the club, they can go to hell as well for that. And that's just about it. The French league is Paris Saint-Germain, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But Alexis Sanchez is playing for Marseille, so I'll keep an eye on them.
I've been keeping an eye out as well. But let's move on to Germany. The biggest story in the off-season was Lewandowski leaving Bayern Munich. On the weekend, they took on Bochum and they won 7-0. So now Lewandowski, Bochum. Here in Australia, we don't get that much coverage unless you go looking for the game. So
I only know that because my friend was a Bochum fan.
Bochum. All right, Bochum it is. And Yeah, no Lewandowski, no problems. They scored 7 goals on the weekend, and the Lit got on the score sheet. The new defender that signed with them, Mane got on the score sheet twice. So they've clearly done the right moves in the off season. We will come back to them and talk Champions League and where we think they're going to finish. You're wearing a Werder Bremer shirt. They had one of the most. I watched this game. And they had one of the most spectacular games against Borussia Dortmund on the weekend, where they absolutely dominated them to the point where Dortmund looked lost. They held the ball for too long. They didn't know who to pass to. They were just taking too long to do everything. And they had 2 shots on goal for 2 goals at one point, and they were winning 2-0. To credit to them, they took advantage. In the 88th minute, I was like, well, I got my last leg in my multi. I'm cheering. Game over. 89th minute, 2-1. 93rd minute, 2-2. 95th minute, 3-2. Werder Bremer got the deserved 3 points. You said earlier off camera, no Haaland.
No Haaland.
Problems. But I want to move away from the Dortmund aspect. Werder Bremer, are they a team which can be competing for Champions League potentially when it comes to Germany, because it's so, I don't know the word, it's so easy in Germany to compete for Champions League because there's only one good team?
No idea.
No?
I'll tell you right now, man. I remember like when we were in primary school and stuff, they were in the group stages all the time in the Champions League. There was the one season where they were in the same group stages. Inter, I think Panathinaikos was the 4th team as well. And they gave Mourinho a really hard time. It was in like the 2008, 2009 season, something like that, around about that time. But they've won the Bundesliga like 5 times in their career. The last one was in 2003.
I haven't watched Bundesliga since they won, pretty much. When they had Ailton, Diego Graffite, Der Hammer was in the league, Thomas Hitzelsberger. That's when I watched the Bundesliga. I haven't watched it since.
Torsten Frings, did you say Torsten Frings? Did he play for them as well?
Torsten Frings was there at the time, yes.
Yeah.
And then he came to MLS.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Bayern Munich. We mentioned PSG in regards to the Champions League. They're gonna win you'd assume they're gonna win this league with their eyes closed again. Do they take it all the way in regards to Champions League this year? Like, they've got the depth.
My favorites for Champions League are Real Madrid and Bayern Munich this season so far. I think Bayern Munich can definitely win it. I think that Barcelona will, in theory, think they can win it and aspire to win it and show glimpses of where they can win it. I just think with Lewandowski, Bruno, man, like, you literally are the best team on the pitch on the day, no matter what, no matter where your club is financially, no matter what you're going through in the back room. You put Lewandowski in that number 9 position and support him with Dembele and support him with Ansu Fati and support him with like that Barcelona team on paper is still probably the best team in the world. If they weren't going through half the hardship they were going through off the pitch, you'd probably have them as favorites to win La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and the Champions League. But, success sort of stems from the top, and the top is a little bit rotten there still. But they are masking over it really well. It would surprise me to see a team outside of Bayern, Madrid, and Barca win the Champions League. Maybe PSG.
Maybe City.
Maybe. But we always say that.
But look, it's been an hour 23. We've still got 13 people in the chat. Don't forget to hit the like button, guys. We will be doing a stream and it will come up shortly in regards to the Champions League draw. Anthony will make sure that he doesn't go to bed as soon as the draw ends in case they need to redraw the entire...
When is it again? Aussie time?
Thursday night or Friday night. I know they played the last legs of the qualification today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow they're playing the last ones. So, and then the Europa League last legs of the qualifications Friday morning our time, Sydney, Australia. So I'm assuming Friday night, Saturday morning, which is perfect for us.
Yep. Nice one.
I believe.
I'll be there in spirit or in sleep. one or the other.
And sleep.
It's going to be tough. I saw the hypothetical draws that Inter could get today. It's going to be a bloodbath for us, but well, it'll be enjoyable either or. Thank you for having me, and thank you for allowing me to get Serie A roundtable done at a very convenient time. I'll make sure to clip it and upload it pretty much a few hours after this one is done.
It sounds good, but yes, keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out Friday the 26th of August at 2 a.m. So Friday morning.
Yeah, I will not be around for that if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. That's a
a
Bruno stream and a half. That's a Bruno shift.
I will maybe be doing a stream. Just depends on work at that point. But look, we will definitely be doing a video to cover the Champions League. And across all of our platforms, we'll talk about it more in depth. Thank you, Mario Sweatshirt, for joining us today.
Thanks for doing this at a time I can be available.
And Anthony, as always, it's a pleasure.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
And thank you to you guys, the fans. Don't forget, again, to hit that like and subscribe. We will bring content to you shortly. And in the meantime, let's just get through the 90 minutes of football.